Oh my gosh, mate. Sorry about that. I was stuck in a game of Cluedo for ages.
Cluedo?
Oh no, I'm rubbish at murder mysteries. Anyways, what have we got today?
Well, conveniently, we have a murder mystery. The Lake Bodom murders.
Oh, Clue. Okay, I'm an idiot. Gotcha.
The Bodom murders occurred in Finland on June 5th, 1960. Someone cut the ropes to their tent and began to stab and bludgeon them through the tent's canvas.
Oh my God!
Stabbing and bludgeoning 3 of them to death right through the tent.
When police arrived,
What?
they found 2 teens laying across the collapsed tent. It is claimed, over the years, people had witnessed him cut down campers' tents and throw rocks at hikers. Some even believed they'd seen him leave the murder scene.
Bro, what the heck? Isabella, no, I've never played Cluedo before. I played Clue, but never Cluedo.
Talk to me. When did this happen? What was going on? Why are we even discussing
God,
this
it looks so
particular case?
gruesome.
Well, I'm taking you back to the year of 1960.
I feel like
5th of
we've
June.
had so many of these in the night. What happened in 1960s? Was it just loads of dodgy cases going on? Because
You could get away with everything pretty much, and everybody was on drugs, right?
Seems to have happened around that particular time zone.
Yeah, it's all adding up. They didn't have iPhones back then, so, you know, like, they couldn't get the evidence on the camera. This all took place in Finland. We've
Come
got
on.
4 victims, 2 boys who are aged 18 and 2 girls aged 15. The boys are named Nils and Seppo. The girls are named Mila and Anya.
What were they doing with
It's
the 2
important
girls?
to note,
Yes.
right, that they went on a camping trip, shall we say? Okay, now it wasn't just any old camping trip because it was actually a bit of a double date.
Yeah.
Right? So first off, we've got Seppo and his girlfriend Anya.
Yeah.
Right? Followed up with Nils
Okay, I guess this
and
was the
his
60s.
girlfriend.
Mila.
Wow. So they've gone on this double date. They're going camping, right?
Yeah.
When was the last time you went camping?
Ah.
You've never been camping. And this is why we have the most professional
Do people
takes
in the
on a
UK
case
go camping?
Like this.
Gone camping in the back garden.
Huh? You got a cabin in the back garden?
No, camping in the back garden.
You've been camping in the back
Thomas the
garden?
Tank Engine tent with a torch.
The point of a double date Altoid is pretty much to like, it's almost like it takes the pressure off of the other couple. You know what I mean? Like it takes pressure off of like one single person, and it's like a group. So you guys all get to bounce all of your laughters and jokes and talks off of everyone versus like just a one-on-one type of thing. You know what I mean? Plus, it's usually like a way of starting like a friendship type thing, being able to just have fun. So like if you're really nervous around a girl, you would invite like your homeboy and his girl that have probably been dating longer, you know what I mean? To like make things a little better for you guys, if that makes sense.
It's different. Now, Cal, this is where things are going to
God
get
damn
a
it, Jack.
little bit dark.
God damn it, Dazza. It didn't get dark already after the intro? Shit. I hate this dude. He got-
The group has chose the Hogness campsite, right? They've gone camping there. They've gone for a swim in the lake. This is 4th of June at night.
Yeah.
You know, the boys have drank, and pretty much everyone's gone bed by midnight.
An early one, maybe.
Yeah, a bit of an early one. Sometime between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., now this is obviously Sunday, June the 5th, somebody has cut the ropes on the tent, which makes the tent collapse. They're vulnerable right now to an attack.
Yeah.
And someone stabs 3 of the group through the tent repeatedly.
Now, the 3 that died.
God, that's gotta
were
suck.
Anya,
I'd be like, at least come
Mila,
in here and face me,
and
dog.
Seppo. So all 3 of them had died, and only 1 survived, and that was Nils. Not gonna lie, Chip, that is a horrific way to die.
Yeah.
Imagine it. You're on.
You're just out
these,
chilling.
Well, 4 of them, 3 of which obviously died. They were on the inside of the tent.
Yep.
And the attacker is on the outside. So your tent lines had just been cut. It's sort of collapsing in on you. You're like, what is going on? Why is the tent collapsing? And next thing you know, you've just got a knife coming through the tent, and it's stabbing 3 of your mates.
I
This
couldn't
is why
imagine
I'm a
anything worse,
glamper,
to be
not a
honest.
camper.
That's like a proper
Because
horror movie vibes.
Not only that, but you can't see this happening. Like all you're seeing is a knife coming through, stabbing your friends, right?
Yeah.
Because the tent and the fabric is in between. It's not like you can dodge it or whatever. Because
God, like,
You've
can
got
come
no,
from
you've got
yeah, you
nowhere
don't know
to
where they
go.
are.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Mate, that is horrific. That is.
To be honest, I'm not sure how Nils even survived.
Nil's injuries were pretty bad. He had, broken facial bones, a broken jaw as well. That's pretty brutal. Not only that, but he had really bad injuries to the front and the back of his head as well. And that led to what they call cerebral fluid.
Like fluid from the brain.
Yeah, it's just brain fluid, essentially coming out of his nose. And that I know he was the only one that was alive, but
You cannot be murdered when glamping. It's impossible.
Came. And there is sort of this idea that he could have potentially done it, but thinking about it, those are some serious injuries to sustain.
Yeah.
And initially, that sort of ruled him out of doing it. Seppo actually suffered from some pretty bad stab wounds, actually, on the neck and on the chest, and he ended up dying of blood inhalation. Which is, that just sounds brutal,
No,
doesn't
it does.
I can't get this image out, and I know it's a bit twisted, of just like them having no idea what's on the other side of this tent, except for someone that's just blatantly trying to kill them
Stabbing
by
the hell out of them. Like, what?
Through a tent. Like, one thing if you can see the attacker and you can at least say, I tried to avoid it or whatever, but they're stuck, they're caged in. Anya broke her jaw as well. That seemed pretty consistent. Actually, there was a couple of broken jaws
that's
here.
3 people so far.
So
with a
everybody got
broken jaw.
punched in the face.
Right, and
This guy must have a lethal right hook on him.
a bit more than just a lethal right hook.
It was probably just a jab. Shit.
Probably not. Was he even alive?
Milas.
Unless they got stomped or like trampled, that could honestly be a thing too. Like if they were like had horses or something like that. That like they could have just stepped on their faces or something.
Suffered the worst injuries out of anyone.
That probably would have been
According
skull
to this
fractures
here,
though.
She had defensive wounds on her arms. She had been stabbed around 15 times.
Ooh. So the most. She's been...
Mate,
What?
She by far...
Damn, so she got raped
worst out of
too?
anyone.
What?
There was some people that said some of those may have been post-mortem. And it was also noted that she was actually undressed from the waist down.
Ooh. And Mila was,
Kinda
the
freaky
one going out
shit.
with Nils, a
Nils,
survivor.
yeah, exactly, the one guy that survived. And so,
Okay.
what I do find weird is that, if someone came in and, intended to kill all of them, it's like, why has one person suffered the worst wounds, but by quite a lot. But it literally said she was stabbed around 15 times.
And I'm just trying to picture the scene.
I can't
Obviously,
even
the
picture
killer is
that.
doing this all from the outside of the tent.
Yeah.
He's managed to kill 3 of them. One has survived. Has he just, did he
Not
pretend not to
notice,
move and
yeah.
pretend, what's gone on there? And could he see through the tent somehow and see he was stabbing Mila?
Probably.
Had
But
to be able
at the same
to.
time, it's like, why focus so much on one person?
Yes.
Was there a personal thing going
Yeah, it was
on?
a little bit of a
I
motive.
don't know.
The murder weapons, which were believed to be a knife and a rock, I guess that's because there was some blunt.
That was probably the broken jaws, right?
Oh yeah, that's not a
What?
bad shot.
Just
to be fair.
holding a
He's got
big
right
rock and
around the
just
face
whacking
with a
it.
rock. Yeah, those
Yeah,
the
I
murder
don't
weapons
know,
never
baby.
been located.
Hey, come on, big baby. I love you, son. 18 styles with the young 6 months. Hey, 6 months, my nigga? I love you, baby. Thank you so much for being a part of this shit since the beginning, okay? You've been going crazy, all right? I love you so much, man. Definitely. Thank you for everything. It really means a lot to me, man.
The killer actually also took a couple of belongings from the victims. He took the keys, clothes, wallets, the keys to the victims' motorcycles, actually.
That's. But what were the motorcycles nicked? I don't think the
I don't
motorcycles.
So
think
he
so.
just
I don't
took
think so at
everything,
all.
but
Are you just like?
But
you just
left all
fancy
the
the
stuff?
extra
I'm so
cash and
confused.
Keys, like I don't know. It just seems weird. That,
Very strange. Maybe it's just a twisted mind. He's
yeah.
seen the opportunity. It's 4 a.m. 4 kids camping. Let's talk about
Okay.
some potential
I can see that.
witnesses. Okay, we have got a group of young boys who were bird watching. Okay.
See,
So-
nowadays,
What?
You got the
a group of young boys
Yeah.
are twerking on TikTok, right? Whereas back then,
We mentioned
you
no
shout your
names.
boys and you say, you want to go do some bird watching, bro. Like that was it back
What,
then.
and sit in a tree with a little binoculars like, oh.
It was a vibe though. I bet those guys were having a great time. Anyways,
I'm having a great time. I'm bird watching right now.
what did they see?
So the group of boys that were bird watching, they saw a blonde man walk away from the campsite at around 6 a.m. But they didn't actually report it because they thought it was, nothing out of the ordinary.
It's just a blonde geezer walking around.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of blonde geezers in Finland, to be fair. So
I would imagine it's Scandinavian, so
yeah, I feel like it just could be every man.
Yeah,
It's gotta
ever.
be.
So yeah, that probably didn't really help the police too much. But it is interesting to note that there definitely was someone knocking around at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often you're going to see someone, maybe they're on a hike or they're walking to the lake,
but back in the day, early, that makes sense kind of to me.
Johansson, he's a carpenter. Some people actually also know him as Risto Siren. Now, him and his son have gone swimming at the lake at about 11 a.m., so maybe 4 or 5 hours after the murders.
Yeah.
And they've stumbled across the tent. They've let the police know, and officers, they're on the scene by noon.
Could you imagine stumbling across a crime scene like that? That must be horrifying.
That could ruin you for some time.
Yeah, well, think about the sun.
Sometime. I would never go out in the woods again.
So the sun, seeing.
I'm like, I thought I had to worry about bears and shit, but getting killed in my own tent.
That's going to leave you with
just
some
gone
trauma.
for that, dude.
My first instinct
Hey, Crooked, what it do, baby?
Actually, okay, right. Well, Nils is still alive. Did he catch a glimpse of the attacker? Did he see anything? Because that would be like your best chance, really, is that one of the person has actually managed to survive. Surely they can give like a good description of the person. But unfortunately for Nils, is that his head injuries were really bad. And that meant that he just had really bad fogginess. He doesn't really remember what happened. It was all over the shop. So it wasn't actually very helpful. The only thing they managed to get out of him was that he was dressed in all black.
Yeah.
And then that he mentioned he had red eyes.
Huh?
The devil.
The devil's done.
Red eyes, bro. He could have just.
Another family.
It's back in the day. He could have just been drunk or just woke up. I'm not believing this. I'm not believing this. This sounds stupid.
He's like 5'8". He's in his 20s.
Is that what you described him as?
Yeah. So it's like, is it the same man that the birdwatcher saw? Are things starting to piece together?
I think that's the thing. There's probably a lot of blonde people in Finland, so it can't be that too much of a busy place, right? So
yeah, I mean, it's a lake and it's early hours.
Yeah, not to mention like early hours, people are already bird watching, fishing. That's not happening anymore.
Maybe he's trying to get a Strava running.
Try to break his record, his PB. They've both said about this blonde person, but the biggest thing is that ultimately it just might not be the same person.
Yeah, because it happens so early in the morning, it's a struggle to get those witnesses.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a remote place, early hours.
All this chat, Chip, but what were the police doing at this time, right? So naturally,
1960s?
What, 1960s, mate, I'm telling you, back then, there's just so many obvious mistakes, all right? Let me start with the first one, okay? The police rock up, and they don't even tape off the crime scene.
Wow.
I mean,
what?
I don't know.
I'm surprised at this point. We've done a lot of cases.
And the police are messing it up.
Yeah, where they just, we can't be asked for that one.
Yeah.
We'll leave that. We'll do that later.
Yeah, and what happened was...
Bro, what? It's gotta be like that. Oh yeah, too, guys, everybody that is here, make sure you guys go to the rules section in the Discord, and then you gotta accept the new set of rules in order to like actually join back into all the chats and stuff, okay? The homie Electro down here, he's the one that's been getting the Discord back in shape and kind of cleaning everything out for me, all right? So make sure you guys get in there, you know what I'm saying, figure everything out, check out all the new shit, and we'll be good. All right, let's get it.
Nearby community all offered to help out with this search party, see if they can find anything, anyone, any items, things like that. And the police were like, yeah, please do, come and help us out. And guess what? We're just not going to tape off the crime scene, so it was completely contaminated and ultimately renders the crime scene a little bit useless.
Well, that's not great, is it? You remember Nils?
I do remember Nils.
I hope so, because he's one of the victims. Anyway, his shoes were found half a kilometer away from where the tent was set up. Strange?
I mean, that is very sus because
Very.
it sort of gives two potential options here. Is one,
I feel like more than two, I feel like.
Potentially, has he done something? He's walked away to go maybe, I don't know, hide the evidence, do something, and he's left his shoes there because maybe they would have been evidence. I don't really know. Or second, did the attacker nick his shoes and then just left them over there? Maybe he tried to frame it like Nils. I don't really know.
That's an option, but it's a little bit suspicious though.
Yeah.
His shoes are half a kilometer away. It's not like it's 10 yards away.
Another thing that was found was a pillowcase wrapped in an elastic band. Now on this pillowcase actually had some blood and semen, but unfortunately it couldn't be tracked back to anyone.
And there was no evidence of any sexual crimes.
No, none that were documented or released to the public anyways. I mean, we have to remember though
boys.
that one of the girls was actually left undressed from the waist down.
Yes.
Whether that has any connection, I have
Bro,
no idea.
that's gotta
And in
be.
fact,
That's gotta be. Why else would the chick be naked? Like what? Like what do they mean? I'm so
the
confused.
evidence was such a mystery to both the prosecutors and the defense. They decided to just leave that bit of evidence completely out because it just didn't make any sense.
I feel like that could be a key.
Potentially, I don't really know. I mean, even us just thinking about it and chatting about it, it just seems.
You would think the police would be doing the same thing, like, oh, we found semen on his pillow, like, let's let's look into this further.
Now, did maybe Nils have an argument with his girlfriend at the time, and then he sort of retaliated, and then I don't know. It's a bit weird, but the fact that the blood couldn't be traced back to anyone, surely they'd be able to match it with the blood at the crime scene if it was
One of their blood. Yeah.
someone in there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
got
know.
it's somebody else's shit.
It's a bit of the pillowcase thing has thrown us a little bit.
The police used hypnosis and actually created a sketch of the main suspects. Now,
Hypnosis?
you remember the family that was fishing earlier on and saw a blonde man, 5'8", in his 20s.
Chip, you got to hold on a second. Did you just say hypnosis?
Hypnosis.
As in, like, they went like,
I don't know if this
what
was some
did
David
he look
Blaine
like?
business
And then
or...
they would just say like, oh yeah, this was him, mate. Surely they don't do that nowadays.
I think they still might.
There's no way. I'm not believing it.
What,
I'm
so
not
they
believing
just,
that shit.
put him into a bit of a daze, and then he was like, oh, well, it was actually me that did it.
Yeah.
And that's like a
Fuck
legitimate
no.
thing back then. They could use that as evidence being put under hypnosis.
Yes, but I actually think that it didn't work properly because of his head injuries, Neil's head injuries. So because of that, it wasn't really... It
Wasn't
didn't
good enough
it didn't-
evidence.
It didn't hold up well enough. But anyway, the family that saw that blonde man, the sketch from the hypnosis did actually match that.
What?
Really?
So-
Oh, what, the blonde
worked?
Yeah.
guy in his 20s, 5'8".
Maybe it did work. Maybe it did actually, like, it's hard to believe really, but maybe it did work.
Bro, they need to get some hypnosis going on in 2021 then.
Yeah,
if it
I
works.
want to try it.
You're gonna do it for a video?
I'll do it.
Try out some hypnosis?
Yeah. But the fellas get hypnotized, baby.
Over the next couple days after the murder, they actually set up like road checkpoints throughout the place, which is pretty common. And they ended up actually finding 88 wanted individuals, but none of them
Were the suspect.
murderer, so they
88.
believe. Could you imagine that? You just do like a little road checkpoint and you just like, oh, well, we've managed to find 88
What?
wanted individuals, but unfortunately, none of them were the person we were looking for.
Some good police.
Would the
work
police?
there.
Yeah, would the police be happy with that? I guess so,
I
right?
guess, but they've still not.
Seems like
found
the police are
main
happy with
suspects in
everything.
this case.
No, and not only that, but they actually interviewed 4,000 people, mate.
Lord have mercy. Do the maths on that. That's a lot of hours.
Could you imagine
That
that?
doesn't
Going
even make
to
sense.
interview
You had to be
4,000 people,
lost
you'd
as
think
fuck. That
you'd
doesn't
at
even make
least
sense.
get a lead on something.
It's a bit hard to believe that they've not found anything from that. or at least-
4,000
At
people.
least like a good, strong lead.
4,000? Like I can't even like make sense of that number.
we
Like,
got to figure this one out. Now,
I can't even make sense of someone talking to that many people.
let's talk a little bit about who could have done this. We've talked all about the horrific tragedy, the horrible murder,
Yep.
and the poorly done investigation, I would say. Or,
Extremely poor.
Some mistakes they made.
Yep.
But now, with the knowledge that we have, is can we figure out who did it? So we do have
No
a few
cap, Isabella.
suspects.
I'm-
There's
I'm
not
feeling the
that
same
many,
way.
But there's definitely a few that caught our eye.
Suspect number 1, the devil.
What?
He's on fraud watch for sure.
He is on fraud watch.
He's on fraud watch for sure.
Voldemar. Sounds a bit like Voldemort, actually. Voldemar Gilstrom, right? Now, he was also known as Kiosk Man.
Do you own a
Right.
kiosk?
He did. He did own a kiosk.
Nice.
Hence the name Kiosk Man, actually.
That's mind-blowing stuff.
It is. And now this
Why do they
suspect,
like this?
Is a really interesting one, actually. And you know how in every neighborhood there's always like that one really grumpy guy that just hates everything and is a bit of a dick? Mm-hmm. That's Kiosk Man. Kiosk Man was a known alcoholic. Not only that, but he was known to be like physically abusive to his wife and kids. So this guy's
Holy
like
shit.
he's a scumbag.
He's a scumbag,
Like, he's
yeah.
a total
Straight
scumbag.
off the bat.
Exactly. And not only that, but he was known to have just hated campers in and around the area. So it was like a thing. If you were around there, you just knew not to pitch your tent near Kiosk Man.
Okay.
Because he was actually known for cutting tent ropes of nearby campers.
Oh,
ties
which is
into
what happened to
The original thing, right? And then not only that, but
that
here's
could-
another
that could
weird
be
thing
way
he used to do.
too,
He used to
like,
put
you know what I mean? I don't know about
razors
that.
in apples. So you bite down and you've got a razor in your mouth. That's some
Wow.
Joker stuff, bro.
That's
that is
bad
just
for
weird.
business. No one's going to go to this man's kiosk.
Bro, this guy is just a dick. Kiosk Man had a well, right?
Okay.
And it was completely filled up with dirt.
Oh.
Now, the police actually went and took a look at this well that had been completely filled up, right? And they were looking for like any missing objects, maybe something from the tent. You know how stuff was nicked, right? He went to go see if he could find any. The police didn't find any, but his son-in-law is pretty confident the stuff is in there.
Kiosk Man's son-in-law.
Son-in-law
Well, they got
is
it.
pretty convinced.
So they
that
had
it
enough
is
time to
down
talk to
that well.
4,000
surely
people,
the
but not
police have
dig
got
out
to
the
dig it up
well?
and
I'm
have
so
a look
confused.
properly, right?
You'd think so, but they claim they didn't find anything. Kiosk Man's wife
Okay.
actually ended up having a alibi for him, which was that he was just home all evening. And instantly the police were just like, oh, right, okay, well, that rules him out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an alibi, to be fair.
I don't know, maybe what if the wife was lying or covering it up?
She could have been.
Kiosk Man actually
Makes sense, she a
ends up
fucking bum.
killing himself in 1969. And he does that by just walking into Lake Bodom and drowning himself.
What?
Okay? And it's important to note that apparently when he was drunk, the day before he killed himself, right, when he was drunk, he confessed to a neighbor about the murders.
Ooh.
There is that saying that, you know, drunk words are sober thoughts, right? So could this guy potentially, he knew he was
I
gonna...
like that. You've seen that on Facebook.
You like that? No, that wasn't Facebook. That was fresh off the Calfreezy factory line right there, bro.
Okay.
Now remember that wife that said the husband was home, the alibi was that he was home all evening? Well, on her deathbed now, she has come and said that he, Kiosk Man, threatened to kill his wife if his wife didn't come up and support the alibi.
Wow.
And the reality is that the wife said that she actually had no idea where he was that night.
So the alibi potentially was a lie. Looking
could-
likely. She's
yeah.
saying it's a lie.
And the police just took her word for it off the bat, and there had to be something sus. I mean, this guy is a proven scumbag. He beats his wife and kids, right? And you're just gonna take the wife's word for it.
Yeah, but he's dead now, so we can't really get much else out of it.
We can't get him on the podcast. We can't get him on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure.
You wouldn't want him on the podcast.
No. He'd probably beat me as well.
Yeah, like, do good views though. In terms of Kiosk Man as a suspect,
That's looking strong, man.
I like it, man.
I
think
like
that
it.
we know a lot about this guy
It
in
makes too much
terms
sense,
of
if that makes sense. You know what I mean, chat?
he's
I don't like that one at all.
And his son-in-law clearly just thinks that the guy did it because he says that he reckons that objects are still down that filled up well. And the wife ends up turning on him on her deathbed. There's a lot of stuff here to unpack, but ultimately, there really is no physical evidence to prove that
if
he
they
was
could
the one that did
find
it.
the murder weapons of some sort anywhere, but I mean, what they're looking for, a rock and a knife?
Yeah.
It's going to be a tricky one.
Anyways, here we go. Let's move on to the next one.
Yes, the next suspect, Hans Arsman, lived in a town
Nah, you
called
gotta be kidding me. What is that last name?
Arsman.
Assman.
Arsman, from a town called Espoo.
I cannot
Assman's
believe
in the
it. Wait,
video,
are you
chat.
actually being serious? The town is called Espoo.
It's on the case file.
How that man even made it out of school alive is beyond me.
Oh, Lord have mercy on his soul.
Bro, because... Bro,
Unless he did this.
Unless he did this.
Many people believed he was a guard at Auschwitz and that he was a member of the Luftwaffe.
Which
God
is
damn.
the German Air Force.
Exactly, and his sister actually brought forward proof in the form of a pension, you know, after he died, showing that he was a member of the Luftwaffe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snitch!
So, I mean,
How'd she
if
go
he
snitch
was
on family?
a guard at Auschwitz, then we're already saying he's probably not the greatest bloke on the planet.
No, for sure. In fact, in the last couple of years of the war, he was in a Soviet camp, and many people believe that the KGB actually recruited him as a spy.
I'm an international super spy. Super spy!
On the 6th of June, day after the murders, he turns up to Helsinki General Hospital. He's acting super strange, blood-stained clothes, he's abusing the staff, and he's also pretended to be unconscious. Now, the police come to see him in the hospital, and they actually don't even take the blood-stained clothes as evidence. Again, police...
Okay, so I've got some stuff about this one, and this is why this suspect doesn't really line up for me too much, is because the murders happened on the 5th, and he comes in on the 6th. Now, we're not talking about like the evening of the 5th. This is the morning of the 5th that it happened on, right? Why is it taking over an entire day for him to
figure
then
it out?
walk in to the hospital with blood-stained clothes. Like, why not go later that day or at some point that day? To me, it just doesn't fully add up. Now, he did actually have an alibi, and that was that he was with his mistress. And that alibi was actually confirmed by his landlord, who said that he was with his mistress.
So it's looking like
it sounds legit to me in a way. Again, you know, as we should say, why believe the landlord? But ultimately,
surely he's got to get quizzed a bit more.
What's his motive for doing it?
Why the fuck would he get rid of the tenant unless it was just a bad tenant?
It's a nut job to do.
It sounds like they have no idea who could have did this. All of the people, it just seems too, you know.
After the hypnosis, whether or not you believe that hypnosis is a different case, but yeah, he looks pretty similar to that sketch. But he actually.
And I'm sitting here thinking now that the shorty's panties and shit could have been down because her and her boyfriend could have been having sex before they got stabbed. You know what I mean? Or like just were trying to be comfortable. You know? I feel like that could have been the thing for sure.
Actually cut and dyed his hair after the details of the suspect were announced.
Unless he was just getting he was fed up of being falsely attached to it, and he was there whoa, I look a little too close to that. People can just
see that makes sense. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it's
or
true.
is it genuine? Or does he didn't want people to start putting the pieces together?
He's made himself look a little bit guilty.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously after the murders, we're now in 1961. The police actually ended up chucking him into jail for beating his wife. So he was absolutely drunk, blindly drunk, and just ended up beating his wife.
And back then.
They ended up divorcing in 1970s. Yeah, I'd say that was a pretty obvious way
yeah,
things
I mean,
going.
it took quite a while.
It did, yeah, exactly. But anyways, now 1997, this particular suspect ended up dying. But on his deathbed, these guys got to stop doing this stuff on their deathbed.
Yeah, I know.
Bro. It's driving me crazy. We don't have enough time to look into it or ask him any more questions because he's doing it on his deathbed.
It's so inconvenient and rude.
It is. Anyways, this is what he did. He called up a journalist, and this was the quote. I suppose you expected me to talk about those tent and knife things. I have to disappoint you. I will not admit nor deny things.
Oh, bloody hell. This man sounds like he wants to... That is like an attention-seeking comment, you know? It's like, I'm not going to say I did it, but I'm not going to say I didn't.
Why not, mate? You're going to die now anyway.
Just let us know.
There is this one photo, okay? Have a look at this, okay? It actually looks very similar to the guy and the sketch.
Looks exactly like the fucking sketch.
Funeral.
The funeral of the victims.
Of the victim.
Yeah, but you think all those people would be... there's so many people there. It looks like it was a public thing.
The eye sockets look similar.
They're deep and dark, aren't they?
They look similar to the sketch. They look similar to the actual picture of the, suspect.
Exactly. The sketch, the guy himself, and not only that, but there was no reason for that guy in the picture to actually be at that funeral. So is it one of those things, you hear about it all the time, where the killers actually go to the funerals or they watch for the funeral from a distance. They want to see the pain and everything that follows the death of who they just killed.
Well, they're sick and twisted people, so I wouldn't put it past them. Our final suspect.
Who is it, Chet?
This is actually the fourth victim, Nils, the survivor.
Wow.
Yep.
He's actually on the suspect list.
Yes, he is. In fact, 44 years after the murder, March 2004, Nils was arrested for the murders.
I mean, he do look a little, he look a little weird to me.
It's crazy.
I don't know about y'all, chat.
This is 44 years later. We're not talking 5, 10, 15 years. Bro, this is 44 years later. The guy is old and senile at this point.
And you know what? It was all done based on the shoes. The shoes that were left half a kilometer away. They'd found the blood of the other 3 victims on them, but not himself. So not his own blood.
On the shoes. So, it's almost as if he's gone, killed everyone.
Well, to them, they
it's not
said
really
that
as if he did it.
He was wearing the shoes at the time.
When it happened.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a tough one because it's like, okay, so what? They're saying that he's wearing the shoes, he's gone, he's stabbed through the tent. Obviously, he's not got any of his own blood. Then I guess he walks away. He goes to hide the evidence half a kilometer away. He takes off his shoes, all that. And again, that would be why he doesn't have any of his own injury blood on it. He comes back and then he self-inflicts himself to make it seem like he was a victim
but
as well.
The injuries to me are just too.
But it was all self-inflicted.
severe,
So
man.
like,
are you gonna
what the fuck
break
is he?
your
That doesn't
own
make
jaw?
sense.
Is it possible that he did commit the crimes, and maybe one of the other victims, one of the girls, or maybe the guy, in fact, fought back and caused those injuries, but still died? Is that possible?
Wow, I
That
never.
could-
Chip, you're
That
you're
could
going deep
explain.
here.
That could. So maybe the other
Yeah.
18-year-old boy in the group has maybe he's hit back, broke his jaw. Because you're not gonna, in my opinion, you're not gonna break your own jaw. Like I just don't
That's
see.
tough.
And like you say, cerebral liquids coming from his nose, brain injury. Yeah. Are you gonna be able to? But he is a sick and twisted individual. Maybe he
Maybe he
has
just got
managed to do
fucked
that.
up. I
And if
don't
he
know.
has, it's made him look quite innocent. Even though
Definitely
somebody
doesn't look
did
innocent.
also come in and give the police some new DNA evidence. And I don't have too many details on that, in fact, but it obviously has helped
Helped the
in
case a
leading to
bit.
his arrest.
So they obviously arrested him, and then 59 days later, while the guy was in jail, the judge actually released him on bail. And 14 months later, the court date came, which was on August the 4th, 2005. And ultimately, the jury just said there wasn't enough evidence here and acquitted him. So they said, look, he didn't do it. And I would agree, there isn't enough evidence here. I understand the shoes. That has to raise a few eyebrows.
If
Not really. It doesn't
wasn't
have
wearing
to.
shoes, and maybe the killer took them, or maybe he was the killer and he walked half a mile away, half a kilometer away. He's come back. Surely there should be some mud on his socks, mud on his feet, something.
Yeah,
There's got to
yeah.
be, and there maybe
Surely,
actual
yeah.
footprints if he's gone barefoot back to the tent.
Yeah.
Because remember, he was found at the tent by the police.
Yeah.
Which means if he's the killer, he's taken them shoes half a kilometer away and come back.
I wonder if the police at any point even bothered to see if any of the suspects had matching shoe sizes.
Yeah,
Like, could that be? Did the killers just take the shoes and like hold them like a pair of football boots, or have they whacked on the shoes and walked away in them? Nil's defense argued, right, that now Nil's blood was found on the inside of the tent. So surely that suggests that he was actually being attacked inside the tent with everyone else.
Yes, unless, as it's all gone down, he's gone inside the tent, because on the images of the tent has got some massive
What,
gaps
like
in
almost
it.
to like finish the job? He gets
Possibly,
inside?
and like we mentioned earlier, maybe they fought back a little bit.
Okay, well, how about this then? Another thing that the defense brought up was the fact that the blood splatter on Nil's clothes were very different to the blood splatter on the shoes. So surely they would be similar blood splatters if he was wearing them at the time of doing them.
Yeah,
Of doing the
that's
attack.
true.
What?
So the defense was pretty solid in that sense. There was definitely a couple bits of evidence that really helped his case out. There is obviously the chat about him attacking his girlfriend, but they believe that it's one, a very harsh thing to do. But not only that, but him and Seppo had actually fought earlier in the day.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, well, if he was really going to attack his girlfriend, then why would he not attack Seppo in a similar fashion?
Yeah.
Because they had already had a bit of beef prior.
Yes, and Seppo
okay,
beat
hold
him
up,
in
hold
that
up,
fight,
hold
so
up,
it's like
hold up.
humiliation. Surely he's going to get revenge on him as well.
But
Surely.
that didn't really pop
Yeah,
up.
the prosecution also said that he exaggerated the scale of his injuries to make it seem like, he was a victim.
Yeah.
But the defense came in, they brought in their own medical witnesses and stated that the injuries were very
Or
severe.
as bad as he
just as
said,
bad as
yeah.
he's made out, and he did have cerebral fluid coming
Coming out of
from
his
his nose.
For me, Chip, in this case, I don't think it was Nils.
I have to agree with you.
And not only that, this is an 18-year-old lad. Does he have all the
capability.
Oh yeah.
smarts,
Oh
the
no.
capability,
Everybody
the
got it.
smarts
Everybody got the smarts for
to
it.
be
No cap.
able
I don't
to
think that's
pull
what
it
like
off and then
the right
make
way to
it
say that.
seem
But
like it wasn't him. That's quite a complex thing to do.
I don't think he has the facilities for that.
I don't think he has
think he's got the facilities for that, big
either.
man.
The other two that we have, we obviously got Ass Man and Kiosk Man.
Yeah.
I prefer both of those now. Ass Man.
I think they don't know. I don't
He
think they
he
have
fits
the guy who did
profile
it.
in terms of looks. He had that picture at the funeral, which is a bit sus. Can't really say it's definitely him, but the actual image of him, the witness sketch,
Yeah.
the sketch of him, and also the fact that he did shave his hair and try and change his appearance after all those details came out.
Do you know what's interesting is that if there was a better motive, we don't know what would his motive have been. If he had a better motive, I would lean towards him.
Yeah.
Because I would say, right, okay, he probably did do this, especially with that picture and how similar it was to the sketch. But why would he do it?
Yeah.
Do we know why would?
Even though I would say Chaos Man doesn't really have so much of a motive, he just hates
He just
campers,
hates people camping
hikers.
there.
But
Not only that, but he also did have the tent cut.
cut in ropes, which does kind of tie him in strongly, which is quite a weird thing to do. I mean, it's quite often that one of your personality traits is cut in tent ropes. Right?
yeah, exactly.
So I would say that kind of narrows it down.
I don't know. This whole thing is just very strange to me.
Yeah,
it
very
is.
strange. But guys, if you want to let us know in the comment section, who is your prime suspect for the Lake Bodom murders?
I don't think they have.
If you
a
haven't
suspect.
already, guys, make sure you hit the notification.
And make sure you guys subscribe. They're amazing. These video breakdowns are awesome. I'm loving it so far, man. Okay, I used to be so addicted to watching like the BuzzFeed Unsolved Mystery stuff. So if you guys are not already hip to the fellas, I hope this video proved how great they can be. All right, make sure you guys go tune in, and make sure you also come up with your boy every once in a while. All right, I love you guys so much. Big peace.